So, the latest short SketchUp snippet, and in this one I'm going to be talking to you about the move tool and what you can do with it other than just move and copy. Now, all of you know that you can use the move tool to move things, like that. You also know that if you hit your Option key on a Mac, that if you then move it, that you make a copy. Okay, now there's actually additional things you can also do with the move tool in SketchUp, and one of them is this, and it's I think going to be very useful for you as you move into the more complicated challenges of Book 5. So if I take my move tool and make a copy, and you know how to do that, so I won't explain that again, and I'm just going to pick up that corner and I'm going to drag it along my green axis and snap it onto the guideline that I've already made over here. Now, for the purposes of this model, what I want is not just those 2 copies, but I want 8 evenly spaced copies of this leg, this table leg that I've made. And so I've already made 1 copy. So if I now, what I can do now is I can just type /8 and then hit the Enter key. And what I can get is 8 copies of what I just made in between. So let me show you that one more time. I'm going to select, I'm going to take my move tool. So far you know this already. I'm going to hit the Option key on my Mac keyboard and I'm going to make a copy and I'm going to drag it over here to this guideline. So I have the beginning point and the end point of my copies. Now I want a total of 7 copies of the original, which would give me a total of 8. So in this case I'm going to do /7, and now if we count them up, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 copies, which is exactly what I wanted. And because I did that, they're perfectly evenly spaced. Now, it's not only objects or components that you can do that with. You can also do that with lines and other details. So, for example, on this, what I want is I want a number of different. Let me just double click on that to edit. I want a number of different copies of this little set of lines here because I want to pull them through and make these little round-ended grooves. Now, I've already got a guideline here on this end, and I've got a guideline here on this end, which I've made. And again, here, just like I did with the previous example, I can take my move tool, hit my Option key, and I'm going to pick it up by that end and move it along the green axis until it snaps right there at that intersection where my guideline meets the edge of the piece that I've made. And now, just like I did before, I want 10 slots in total, so I'm going to put /9. That's how many copies of the original I want. And then you can see I have 9 perfectly evenly spaced copies of that groove.